My name is Ray Lopez. I'm your District 6 City Council representative, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Lopez Live. Today, I'm excited to have as my guest David McCurry, who's the Director of Solid Waste Management here in San Antonio, and later, Dr. Susan Escobar. She's the Digital Media Program Professor at Northwest Vista College. On today's show, we'll be discussing the Pay-As-You-Throw program and the digital program at Northwest Vista College. Now I'd like to welcome my first guest, David. Welcome to the stage, and as you can tell, it's a little bit different, a little bit newer, but I bet you the experience and the information we're going to get out is going to be just as profound as it's always been. You've been a great host on this, and we get all kinds of requests for you to come back because what you put out as far as information is incredibly important to our community. Last week, I think I was telling you earlier in the month, we were out talking to the folks about the Pay-As-You-Throw program.
Oh, yes.
And literally, for the first time ever, I think, we actually, got an actual cheer from our community because they recognize that this is incredibly important for our community. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know that we're getting ready to go into that whole program,
right.
And we'll talk a lot about that, but can you give me the highlights, give the public, the listeners, viewers, a little bit of a highlight on it?
Be happy to. First, I have to tell you thank you for allowing us to be hosts on your show and highlight what we're doing within our department. You know, Pay-As-You-Throw is really exciting because it gives our residents, for the very first time, a great look at how they manage their waste. They not only will be able to maximize how much they recycle by putting it in a blue cart, and they'll be exposed to a new green cart collection, but it really makes them think about how much waste really goes into the landfill. And the 3 cart sizes is where they'll get an opportunity to select. It'll be their choice if they want to go with the small, medium, or large cart. So this is an exciting time, but Pay-As-You-Throw is really a nice catalyst to get everybody to look at their waste stream. And
right, and to consciously make some decisions on, am I doing everything that I possibly can, with the option of if you don't want to do as much, you don't have to. However, you'll be able to consciously do that. Right. And I think at some point, folks will become a little bit more conscientious about what they're doing, and maybe jump onto the program even more aggressively. I know at my house, that's the case. We actually have a little ongoing joke in my house is I just raise whatever it is I'm going to throw away. My wife is very, very much into which color can to go in. I just raise it up and she reinforces what color can to go into.
All right.
So we've got that going. Although she has trained me well. I know the colors and I do know, and actually how quickly they fill up or not. And I think that's what's going to make our community be really, really conscious about what we're doing with our environment. Yeah. Now, I know over the years we've talked about how effective we want to be, how effective we have been, and I know we have a 60% target. Talk a little bit about where we were a few years ago, where we are now, and how we're going to get to 60%.
Well, you're correct, Councilman. We do have a 60% goal to achieve by the year 2025 for our residential community. It's kind of amazing. We're already at 30%. We're at 31% today, and we're continuing to increase. But about 10 years ago, we were only at 4% is the amount we were recycling.
That's a big difference.
A big difference, and it meant that we threw away 96% of everything we touched. Went straight to the landfill, no hesitation, to be discarded and never looked at again. Yeah. So now the strategy is what happens in the next 10 years. You know, we're going to be adding, as a part of the Pay-As-You-Throw program, a green cart. This green cart will improve our recycling rate, and it'll take us from the 30% where we are today to 40% and above, you know, just by doing that. But Pay-As-You-Throw allows residents to really look at, am I maximizing my opportunity to recycle or to give it back to nature? It has to be one of the two. That's what I call it for the blue and the green. And when all those things are in place, you're pretty surprised that a resident will either go down to the 64-gallon cart or even the 48-gallon cart, because we do have some of our seniors that are really on their game when it comes to recycling, and most of our public. So the 48-gallon cart works just well for them.
So I know that this is a citywide program. Ultimately, all of us will contribute or not, right, one way or another, to get us to 60%. So how is it being rolled out specifically in District 6? I know we've had several community meetings where I said earlier they were very well received, almost on the verge of cheering, a program that we were bringing out. But how's it going to be rolled out, and how are we going to monitor that? And talk a little bit about that.
Well, what we're going to do is over the next 18 months, we will be distributing it citywide. And as a part of your district, as we move forward, some of your residents can look forward to receiving this cart. I wanted to, at least the tag, and this particular tag is going to be a door tag. It'll give them an opportunity to not only look at the program, but to kind of understand where they fit into the rates. So say, for instance, if someone really is on their game with the recycling and they choose a 48-gallon cart, then they're looking to reduce their waste and their price by about 50 cents. So instead of being the $20.93, which they pay today, it'll go down to $20.43. The mid-size cart, which is your 64-gallon, will stay the same at $20.93. And if those that aren't just quite ready to recycle like they would want to, then they can keep the 96-gallon cart. It's about $1.25 more. But it gives them an opportunity to make a selection. So the residents will know in District 6, once they get this door tag on their door, then they can make a selection and choose which size cart that fits their family needs. Of course, it is about their habits, and the whole family has to kind of decide together that they're going to recycle and do the very best with it.
Well, and that's exactly the point I think that everybody wants to kind of get a good understanding of. We know as a city, we made these decisions because it's good for the environment.
Yes.
There's economic advantages to the city for doing these kinds of things. We could have a lot of dialogue around the impact of the environment and the landfills and not filling them and all those kinds of things. But there's also a direct benefit to the resident.
Sure.
Talk about some of the advantages and benefits really that the residents themselves will have by being able to embrace and adopt this program.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we focus on to make certain that it's easy for our residents is we want it to be something that's easy to understand. We want our residents to have convenience and service. So what will happen is the blue and the green cart will be able to be placed out at the same day. So part of this convenience for them is in the green cart, they will be able to put their shrubs, grass clippings, leaves, small twigs. They can actually set it directly into that green cart and set it alongside of the blue cart. So there'll be a recycle day and a trash collection day. So if they're maximizing their efforts to recycle, they know about what goes in their plastic bottles, aluminum cans, the newspaper. It's all those kind of things, and cardboard.
Made easy.
Made easy, made easy. So even for the organics, one of the things that they'll get is an organics guide. This guide will allow them to choose if they want to maintain the cart, that's great. If they want to compost and continue to do it in their backyard, that's fine too. But it also includes a little return in case they said, well, not right now, so we're doing okay. And we'll make it just as easy to participate as it is to keep things the way they are.
So what kind of things, just rattle off a couple of things that can be placed, for example, in the green cart, the organics. Okay.
So if you have your grass clippings, you're good at keeping the yard trimmed, and if leaves fall, you don't have to wait and dial 311 for a special pickup. You can actually place it in the cart there. If you do little hedge trimmings with your shrubs, they can go in there too. The grass clippings, that's a major one.
And that's probably one of the bigger items, the larger bulk items.
That's correct.
That's going to be utilizing the that part of the program.
Yes.
And that is the green cart.
That is the green cart.
Because that's always been, like I said, my wife has trained me well. I lift up the item and she yells out a color to me just to kind of reinforce what it is that I should be doing next with that item. She's also very into all of the composting and stuff in the backyard. So her questions are like, so what if I don't need this? Because most of the stuff I use in the back, and I think that's part of the program here for those that don't do it on a regular basis, don't know what the volumes are. There is flexibility. I can choose one thing and go to another later on after I decide or define exactly what it is that I want. Are there costs associated with moving back and forth?
Well, there are a couple of things. One is the organics piece in terms of cost. The $3 that was a subscription fee goes away completely. So there's no cost for that. if someone is recycling and they have their 96-gallon cart and they feel that they're getting better, they can always downsize without any fees attached. We want you recycling, we want you to do better and reduce the size of the brown cart. But if by chance they tried it and they said, I went to the 64-gallon, my family's not quite ready, take me back to the 96-gallon, we can do that at no charge. The first time there's no added charge or fee at all. If you continue to go back and forth, then we need to try to talk to the resident because we don't have inventory
Sure.
to have several carts on hand. So we would like for them to really think about it and just manage their waste accordingly.
And would it be, is there a limit to how many cans you can get? I mean,
Well, for the blue cans, if you want 2 blue 96-gallon and you're recycling and filling it up, we want to encourage that so there's no additional
and
cost.
no additional cost.
Same thing for the green cart. If you're on your game with your yard waste, then by all means you can have a second one.
Well, and I know that this is being rolled out not citywide immediately, and I know that very, very well because my wife brought it to my attention very, very clearly that we are not in the initial rollout, but I told her it is coming, don't worry.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about the rollout, you know, how that's going to be coming about, how we're going to accelerate through that.
Well, what will happen is October of this year, October of 2015, we will begin and continue to go for the next 18 months consistently. One of the things that we're doing is we are strategically landing in all 10 council districts simultaneously. So you will see the rollout kind of blossom as we move forward. Of course, we'll still do it in an efficient manner where we'll have collections. But one of the things that we'll do is just like the community meeting we had in your district, we'll have another about 9 more in your district and throughout the city, a total of 100. Because we want to make certain we get the message out and include in that we'll have maps and be able to show residents where they kind of land. But the key will be once they see that brochure that I showed you earlier, then they know that that's it.
So, I mean, I think it's important. You've touched on it already, but as the residents are selecting the size of cart,
Yes.
recap again for us. So what are some of the facts that I should consider as I'm selecting the size?
Oh, absolutely. The first fact would be, say you choose a small brown cart, that's the 48-gallon. That means that you can place in that small brown cart anywhere from 3 to 4 kitchen-sized bags. You know, they're your typical 13 gallons. If you choose a medium-sized cart, then you're looking at anywhere from 4 to 5 kitchen-sized bags. And of course, if you want to maintain the larger cart, then you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 bags. So that's what the size are, and you can kind of govern yourself accordingly.
Yeah, so if you haven't been consciously counting the number of bags and the size of bags, you can make that determination. You choose wrong, no problem.
Right. No problem.
You can
we
make a
can
change
go
to it.
back up, and it's not a problem. So.
Well, I keep on asking the question over and over because while I get told the answer a lot, I have trouble remembering it, and it's not until you really jump into the program where you start seeing how does this really affect me.
That's a great
We don't have much time left, and like I said last time, there's so many things to talk to you and about your department and how it impacts our community. If you can take just a real quick second, one of the things we didn't get much of a chance to talk about was the new facility out on Culebra. Real quickly, talk a little bit about that, and maybe we'll spend a whole program talking about the impact it's making on our community. But talk a little bit about that, would you?
That is a magnificent
It is.
program, and this is our bulky drop-off center, which also has a household hazardous waste center. That facility is open Tuesday through Saturday noon, and you can bring your bulky items such as furniture, appliances, bicycles, lawnmowers, grills, and bring it to us, and we can actually set it and get some of those things recycled. Some of them are your little do-it-yourselfers, and those that have just wanted to clean out the garage, they didn't want to wait for our collection services as we make our cycle around the city every quarter. And it's available to our customers, and all they have to do is just bring their CPS energy bill. There's an environmental fee. It's open for apartment complexes. Many people don't realize that. And gated communities, so it's for our entire community. All of District 6, we welcome you to come.
Well, I appreciate that invitation. I believe that most of the residents have already taken advantage of it. I hear nothing but positive things about it. Certainly was there at the ribbon cutting,
Yeah,
and we had a lot of folks really, really happy
Yes,
with
we
the
did.
facility and the service that it provides. So thank you very much,
You're
David.
very welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having us
much.
again.
Not at all. Stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break to talk about the digital media program at Northwest Vista College.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, City Councilman Ray Lopez. We're going to talk to Dr. Susan Escobar from Northwest Vista College. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you for having me here today.
Well, I know we're going to be talking about digital media, and most kids would understand exactly what that means, but some of us kids don't quite understand. We think we know, but we really don't know. So why don't we start with a really, really basic question is, what is digital media?
Digital media is any form of communication that can be delivered in a digital format. So audio, like what we're going to send out here, we're working with digital cameras, or visual, that would be, and a lot of things that go out on the front end of the internet, anything that somebody can see on a computer. And additionally, a big field for us here in San Antonio is training development, because a lot of training and things like that are delivered over computer-based training or over the internet.
So at Northwest Vista, you have a program that focuses on that. So let's get into that little bit of a discussion, because it sounds intriguing.
We do. We have we have several excellent programs at Northwest Vista, but I'm just here to talk about ours today. But there's so many things that students can follow through with. Our program does a lot, focuses on a lot of graphic arts, not so much the theory of graphics and how to make things beautiful. We do a little bit of that too, because it's important.
Sure.
But we focus a lot on the technology behind it. How do you use all of these software programs? How do you develop things to best communicate your meaning? And our students have the options to focus on the areas that are most important to them, such as if they want to do things like your Joseph Lopez here, focusing on video and sound. They can do that with their elective flex area. They can focus on web app development. So there's really, it's a broad field, and we allow for that flexibility.
Well, that's great. So it's much more than just saying, hey, listen, anybody that wants to be a professional in this field, come on in here and take some of these classes and programs, introductory or advanced. Is there some folks that do it just as a hobby, or because they just kind of want to learn a little bit about it? I mean, so talk a little bit about that.
We've actually had some seniors come through who are interested and they just want to know more, because a lot of our seniors in the community are actually pretty
Now,
tech
these are not
savvy.
high school seniors.
No, not high school seniors. Some of our non-traditional students are actually older people who are retired. They've come back in, they want to learn a little bit.
We call those people young at heart.
Young at heart,
They're
or
young at heart.
curious and tech-savvy, curious people. But you know, passion for technology and passion for the communication that you can create, delivering through technology, that knows no bounds age-wise. But the passion has to be there for people to be really successful.
Yeah, you know, I can only imagine. I know certainly at my stage in life and my exposure to technology, I've seen it come from virtually infancy all the way to this incredibly robust environment that we have. And while a lot of people from a professional perspective are looking at it as a way of life, as a way of making a living,
Yes.
as a way of advancing their career, a lot of us, a lot of folks just use it as a hobby, or because it's really, really enjoyable, and it, you know, it kind of challenges our creativity. But so let's talk a little bit about the professional piece of it.
Okay.
So folks that get into this, and I guess it doesn't matter what age you are jumping
Yeah,
into
of
the
course not.
industry. So what are some of the salaries that can be paid? High tech, all these creative positions. I mean, I would imagine that they're pretty attractive from a salary
They
perspective.
can be very attractive. The workforce research here shows that the average salary for someone who works in a digital media field is slightly over $29, or yeah, $29 an hour, which would be $58,000 a year at a 2,000 man-hour year. I recently saw a job position posting for 1 year of experience for $80,000 as a civilian position at one of our bases here locally. So there's quite a range.
Yeah.
But yes, the jobs are out there and the salaries are pretty good.
Well, and as we start to make San Antonio be a big, bright star in the digital world, you know, we've made several announcements in the course of the last few months here in San Antonio, taking us to this gigabit world, right?
Google.
All the Google stuff, and recently the AT&T announcement, and all that kind of stuff. It gives people an opportunity to really do that really high speed, high you know, capacity stuff from their home. Not having necessarily to come to an office or into a
Telecommuting.
and so that's going to be very, very beneficial as we start to put San Antonio on that digital map. One is to have the facility to do it, and the other one is to have the creativity and the interest from our population, from our students, as well as our young at heart. So what are some of the skills that somebody might want to have if they're thinking about getting into this kind of a field that maybe they say, I think I have an aptitude for it, but I really don't know if I have the skills and the background to get into it. What would be some of the considerations somebody would do?
We always tell our students we don't really care about the skills that they come in with, we care about their level of passion. The students that come in and they don't really care about it, and they don't want to work, and they don't want to continually learn, don't do as well as the students who want to learn and are very interested, because the field is constantly changing. So somebody's level of interest and level of passion is going to be a defining characteristic, I guess is the word I'm looking for, of how successful they're going to be, because you have to be constantly learning and constantly digging into the new topics as they come up.
Yeah, so I mean, taking it to the next level is going to be really up to you, the student, to come in and take it to that next level. And creativity,
Exactly.
creativity is
Exactly.
really at the core of it all. And again, creativity is not only for the young, but also, I've said it several times now, the young at heart. I keep pitching that because I think it is very encouraging to know that there are fields out there of interest for all of our community. So that being said, if someone was interested in doing that, why should they pick Northwest Vista?
Well, there are a lot of schools out there. We have a lot of for-profit colleges and things here, and institutions that offer similar programs. The deal is that we are a community college, therefore we're supported by tax dollars. The cost of our program for the full 2 years, 4 semesters, if you go through and do a full load, is $4,000 approximately. So the cost is very reasonable. Our professors are excellent, if I may toot mine and Vivian Mariano's horn and the other adjuncts that we have. We work very hard on keeping up with the technology because it's constantly changing, and I've been with the college since 2000, so everything has changed since I started teaching, and we focus very much on keeping the skills up to date. Community colleges have the ability to change their programs and update curriculum very quickly. And that's very important in a field like ours. So really, Northwest Vista is the ideal choice.
So you'll be able to have the latest flexibility, relatively inexpensive.
Yes.
And then is there the opportunity perhaps to take that to a more complex level?
Yes.
Or into a work environment? And what would be after Northwest Vista? What could people look at?
If people want to go on and continue to study, we actually have transfer programs. You can transfer our technical skills, can transfer to, say, Texas A&M, San Antonio. They have several Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Science degrees, and you would do approximately 3 years at Northwest Vista at Northwest Vista prices, and then 1 year at Texas A&M San Antonio, and you would get a Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Science. Right now, we're just discussing the interdisciplinary BAAS at Texas A&M San Antonio, and follows very closely with us. They get a liberal arts degree and the certificate, the digital media certificate. So 3 years at Northwest Vista, 1, and you can get a bachelor's for under $10,000.
Yeah, which is incredibly attractive in today's environment for our students to be able to economically recognize that they can afford this.
Yes.
There's ways to doing that.
And there's financial aid available since we are accredited institutions. So
good. Well, I certainly thank you for being here, and I wanted to give you a little bit more of an opportunity to make a pitch for the digital media program. Are there any particular items that are on the horizon that you guys are getting ready to add, or something you just added that you're really, really proud of? I bet you there's a bunch of them.
We're working on a web application program, advanced skills certificate for people who are already out in the field. They have to have a bit of technical savvy, or they could take some of our classes and build up to that. But business and everything is building up to having so much on the web, and everything run by databases and dynamic websites and things like that. So we're building our program around that. It's very exciting.
Well, that's great, and I really do, once again, thank you for being here and sharing this information with us. We've made a commitment here at the City of San Antonio to do the outreach, and then there's folks like me that get up here and we talk about things we think are important, but there's so many people behind the scenes making programs like this one happen. And that's really where the jobs, and that's really where the careers and the professions and those passions that will come out for creativity, and how we reach out and how we communicate via the media is incredibly important, and we reach so many more people that way than the old days of knocking on doors and leaving flyers. So thank you very much for what you're doing, and I bet it's incredibly exciting every single day to be out there.
It is.
Thank you very much once again for being here. And thank you for tuning in. I'd like to once again thank my guests for taking the time out to provide us such great information about the new Pay-As-You-Throw program and the digital media program at Northwest Vista College. I look forward to our upcoming show, and until next time, I'm Councilman Ray Lopez, and thank you, San Antonio.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.